Tonight on a program for the modern age, a small pill with a big promise. Atorvastatin, quiet, common, powerful. And for many adults, especially after 55, it is part of the daily routine. But routines can hide mistakes, and mistakes can turn a protective medication into an avoidable problem. So here's the deal. If you are taking Atorvastatin right now, there are 6 things you should avoid, not because the medication is bad, but because the wrong habits can quietly raise your risk of side effects or quietly weaken the protection you thought you were getting. This is not a scare story. This is a safety story, the kind that saves people from the "I wish I knew" that moment.
If you take Atorvastatin, this video is basically your do not step here map, because most people think statins are simple. Take the pill, cholesterol goes down, done. But the real world is messier. The protection comes from consistency, and the side effects usually show up when a few everyday habits collide at the wrong time. So I am going to give you the 6 things to avoid, plus what to do instead in plain English. Quick basics first. Cholesterol is carried around your blood by little transport particles. LDL is the one we call bad because it helps build fatty gunk inside arteries. Over time, that buildup raises heart attack and stroke risk. HDL is often called good because it helps move cholesterol away from arteries and back to the liver. Atorvastatin works mostly in the liver to lower LDL over time. And here's the key mindset. This is not a feel-it-today medication. It is a prevent-the-bad-thing-later medication. So if you do it right, the benefits can be huge. If you do it sloppy, it can still work, but you might get less protection and more drama than you need.
In the old radio days, a narrator would pause and say, "A word to the wise." This is that word. The most dangerous part of high cholesterol is that it usually has no pain, no warning, no siren, until the day it does. Statins became famous not because they make you feel amazing, but because they reduce the odds of catastrophe. And in large research programs, the pattern is clear. When LDL goes down, risk tends to go down as well. And the size of benefit often tracks with how much LDL is lowered. The medication is not magic, but it is meaningful. The question is whether your daily habits are helping it do its job or quietly sabotaging it.
Cool. Now we get to the list. 6 things to avoid if you're taking Atorvastatin. Avoid number 1, grapefruit, especially big amounts of grapefruit juice. Here is why. Your intestines have gatekeepers that limit how much of certain drugs get into your bloodstream. Grapefruit can block those gatekeepers, meaning more drug gets through. More drug in the blood can mean higher risk of muscle problems. In rare cases, severe muscle breakdown can happen, which can lead to kidney damage. Now, nuance so we stay honest. Small, typical amounts might only raise levels modestly for some people. But typical is not the same for everyone, and labeling warnings focus on large intake. So the simplest rule that protects most people is this. If you take Atorvastatin, ask your pharmacist or clinician whether grapefruit is safe for your dose, and if they say no, just avoid it. Also, do not assume you can time grapefruit away from the pill and outsmart the interaction. Sometimes the interaction can still happen even if you separate them. And if you want the real-life takeaway, do not let a healthy breakfast accidentally turn into a side effect risk booster.
Grapefruit, a fruit with a reputation. In another era, it would have been a symbol of vitality, sunshine, discipline. Yet in the chemistry of the body, even the healthiest symbols can become trouble in the wrong context. This is the strange truth of modern medicine. A choice that seems harmless in the kitchen can change what happens in the bloodstream, and that is why the next mistake is so common, so human, and so damaging.
Avoid number 2. Stopping Atorvastatin suddenly because you got scared. This usually happens after a scary headline, a dramatic social media comment, or a friend saying, "I heard statins ruin your body." Here is the reality. You do not get withdrawal symptoms from stopping, so it feels safe. But the protection is tied to continued use. When you stop without an alternative plan, cholesterol can rise again, and your cardiovascular risk can drift right back up. And there is a second trap. Some older adult data shows that people who discontinue statins tend to have higher rates of cardiovascular events compared with those who continue. These are not perfect cause and effect trials, but the signal is consistent enough to respect it. Translation, for many people, panic quitting is the real danger, not the medication. So what do you do instead? If you are worried about side effects, do not make it a solo decision. Call. Ask for a plan. Sometimes the plan is a lower dose, a different statin, a temporary hold, or a different medication strategy. The goal is simple. Keep the protection while reducing the downsides. High retention truth. The most harmful move is not having a side effect. The most harmful move is panicking and stopping without a plan.
Fear spreads faster than facts. It always has. Once it was rumors in town squares. Now it is headlines in your pocket. And the human brain has a bias toward the dramatic. One frightening story can outweigh 1,000 quiet successes. But in medicine, the quiet successes are the point. The pill that prevents a heart attack does not make the news on the day it works. It just makes your future less dangerous. Now let us move to the mistake that people miss because it hides behind a very normal thought. This is probably just aging.
Avoid number 3. Ignoring muscle symptoms or assuming every ache proves the statin is toxic. You need the middle path, yes. Atorvastatin can cause muscle problems. In rare cases, serious muscle injury can happen, and severe muscle breakdown can harm the kidneys. That is real. But also, many people have aches for 100 other reasons. Arthritis, old injuries, dehydration, low vitamin D, thyroid issues, overdoing the yard work, you name it. So here is the practical decision tree I like for a general audience. Step 1. Notice what is new and unexplained. New muscle pain, tenderness, cramps, or weakness that does not match your usual pattern. Step 2. Watch for danger boosters. Symptoms that feel unusual, symptoms that are getting worse, or muscle symptoms paired with fever or unusual fatigue. Step 3. Act. If it is new and unexplained, tell your healthcare team promptly. Do not wait months. If it is severe or comes with fever, unusual fatigue, or rapid worsening, treat it as urgent. And here's a myth breaker that protects your sanity. In controlled research, people who believed they could not tolerate statins sometimes had similar muscle symptoms even on placebo. So, not every ache is the statin, but the aches that matter often have a pattern, and you do not want to ignore that pattern.
The body is a noisy machine. It creaks, it complains. It sends signals that are meaningful and signals that are merely annoying. The art is learning which signals matter. In the story of Atorvastatin, muscle symptoms are the chapter that people misunderstand most. Some dismiss them until trouble arrives. Others blame the medication for every sore shoulder and abandon protection that was saving them. Wisdom lives in the calm middle. Take symptoms seriously, but do not let fear do the diagnosing.
Avoid number 4, heavy alcohol, or what I call routine drinking that adds up, especially as you get older. Here is why alcohol matters with atorvastatin. Statins can cause liver enzyme elevations in a small percentage of people. Serious liver injury is rare, but it has been reported. And the official warnings are extra cautious in people who drink substantial amounts of alcohol or who have liver disease history. So alcohol is not just a lifestyle detail. It is a risk multiplier for the wrong person. What to do instead? Use a simple guardrail. If you drink, keep it moderate. And if you are regularly above moderation or you have had liver issues, you should bring that up with your clinician. Not as a confession, as a safety move. Also, one more myth to kill. Many people think you need constant routine liver blood tests just because you are on a statin. Current guidance has shifted. Liver tests are generally checked before starting and then as clinically indicated, because serious injury is rare and routine monitoring did not reliably prevent it. The point is not to obsess. The point is to be honest about alcohol. Watch for symptoms and keep your team in the loop. And no, you do not have to be an alcoholic for alcohol to matter. The risk is about totals, what adds up week after week.
The old moral tales made alcohol sound like a villain. The modern truth is more boring and more useful. Alcohol is a dose, a weekly accumulation, a quiet pressure on the liver's workload. Combine that with a medication processed by the body, and the math changes. Not for everyone, not dramatically every time, but enough that it belongs on a list of avoidable mistakes.
Avoid number 5, taking atorvastatin inconsistently, like whenever I remember, or skipping several days because you do not feel different. Remember what we said, this is a prevent the bad thing later medication. You will not feel a difference on most days. That is exactly why people get sloppy. But the protection depends on regular use. The best statin is the one you actually take. What to do instead is simple habit design. Pick a daily anchor you already do. Brushing teeth, feeding the dog, setting the coffee. Attach the pill to the anchor. Take it around the same time every day. Now the mini climax moment. Missed dose confusion. People think, I missed it, I should double up. No. The official patient guidance is basically, if you miss a dose, wait and take the next dose at your regular time and do not take 2 doses at the same time. So the safest rule on camera is, follow your bottle and leaflet, and whatever you do, do not double up. Consistency is not a personality trait, it is a system. Build the system once, and it protects you daily.
Imagine a lighthouse that turns on only when the keeper remembers. Some nights it shines, some nights it does not. The ships do not care about your intentions. They care about the light being there when the storm hits. In the same way, a medication meant to reduce risk cannot protect you consistently if you take it inconsistently. That is not moral failure. It is just physics, biology, and time.
Avoid number 6. Believing atorvastatin replaces lifestyle. This is the sneakiest mistake because it feels like relief. I am on the pill, so I am covered. But statins are not permission slips. Major heart health guidance is clear that lifestyle is the foundation across the whole life course. The medication is added on top based on risk. And the drug labeling itself encourages the basics: healthy food choices, healthy body weight, and exercise, because those habits multiply the benefit. So what do you do instead? First, think multiplier, not substitute. The pill lowers LDL. Your habits decide the rest of your risk profile: blood pressure, blood sugar, inflammation, weight, sleep, smoking, movement, stress. Second, make the lifestyle goal stupid simple and repeatable. Add more plants and fiber. Reduce ultra-processed foods. Walk more days than you do not. Do a little strength training. Stop smoking if you smoke. These are not trendy. They are boring, and boring works. If you like identity framing, try this. You are not a person on pills. You are a person building a safer future. Medication plus habits. That is the combo. Statin therapy is not a substitute for lifestyle. It is a multiplier.
Now the myths, briefly, because every good program ends with rumor control. Myth: statins destroy the liver. Truth: serious injury is rare, and monitoring is typically done before starting and then when clinically indicated. Myth: statins cause dementia. Truth: some people report memory effects, often reversible, and the overall cardiovascular benefit is still considered to outweigh small risks. Myth: grapefruit is always deadly. Truth: risk rises with larger intake, and people vary. The reasonable stance is not fear, it is clarity and personalized advice.
Let me recap the 6 avoids as a quick checklist you can actually remember. Avoid 1. Large grapefruit intake. Ask your pharmacist or clinician if grapefruit is safe for your dose, and do not assume timing fixes it. Avoid 2. Panic quitting. If you are worried, do not stop alone. Get a plan. Avoid 3. Ignoring muscle symptoms or blaming everything on the statin. Look for new and unexplained symptoms, especially if paired with fever or unusual fatigue, and report them promptly. Avoid 4. Heavy alcohol or routine drinking that adds up. Keep it moderate and be honest about your totals. Avoid 5. Inconsistent dosing and doubling up after a missed dose. Build a daily anchor. Take it around the same time and do not take 2 doses at once. Avoid 6. Using the pill as a substitute for lifestyle. Medication plus habits is the winning formula. And here is the empowering closer. You are not powerless here. Most statin problems come from fixable mistakes, and most statin benefits come from boring consistency. If you avoid these 6 traps, you keep the protection and you lower the chance of side effects.
And so our story ends where it should, not with fear, but with control. A small list. 6 avoidable mistakes. 6 simple pivots, because the goal was never to make you suspicious of atorvastatin. The goal was to make you dangerous to misinformation, resistant to panic, and fluent in the habits that keep the protection working. Until next time, keep the routine, keep the questions, and keep the future on your side.